Hey YouTubes, Sam here. As you know from my last video, I was introducing you guys to the Overtone series, and it's my musical explanation for all the notes, intervals, and scales, modally, relationship-wise, just every aspect of what we understand as music as part of our musical system or as part of another musical system. We will always have a single tone in its Overtone series. So, I was in the middle of sharing a little bit about the perfect fourth, the perfect fifth, and the octave, or a perfect eighth. Which in this case would be, it could be multiple things, theoretically, given inversions of the fifth or the fourth, because the inversion of a fourth is a fifth. And for anyone who doesn't know music all that well, I guess there's always room to learn. Anyways, I'm going to get more into the consonant and dissonant values of the Overtone series and what is described first through the values of the Overtone series to present to you the materials of music which are presented through the Overtone series. It's really great. So, okay, well, here we are, right here, back to the Overtone series. This is exciting. So, these are your intervals: a perfect fifth, a perfect fourth, and an octave, or even a unison. Actually, a unison is also a popular interval in consonant values. I mean, you play C, and then you play it again, and that's pretty, I mean, it's a little bit redundant, but it works to establish the tone. Okay. Anyways, these are your consonant values, and the way I divide this up is that you have your initial tones which establish the tone through the pillars, such as 1, 4, 5, and a chord progression, which some of you might know of, some of you might not. But for those who don't know what a 1, 4, 5 chord progression is, I'm sure you will learn of what it is in the very near future. Here, the consonant values, to be continued, we have, I'm going to divide this up because I know we have an octave, and then we have a perfect fifth and a perfect fourth, which are these tones right here. I'll just divide it up as a measure. 4 beats to a measure, right? So here we have 4 notes in the measure of a tonal establishment. Okay, tonal establishment. I'm going to write that out. Tonal establishment. Right there, right there. I'm going to have to erase the dissonant values for now, but remember, the dissonant values in the Overtone series are the notes that are heard or not heard, but influence our hearing through the frequency of the atmosphere from the initial tone, starting large and breaking down into the smaller, more minute tones. So you have the established tone here, then you have the dissonant values way over here. And I see that they rise, even in the rising of the notes to the higher pitches become more dissonant just because of the fact that they're higher notes, where if you're playing in the bass, it's going to establish more of a tonal center or a tone of focus given the style of playing you're working in, whether it's jazz, thinking in fourths, or whether it's classical music or related to classical, thinking in fifths. Imagine that. It's a small lesson just right there on styles of music and how the thinking of music goes. But we have the consonant values, which are the perfect fifth, perfect fourth, and the octave. But then we have the other notes, which actually establish the mode, because as I had written out, I actually erased that part, but it goes from a perfect eighth, perfect fourth, or perfect fifth, perfect fourth, into the major and minor thirds, which establish the mode. Okay, so with those intervals, let me see. These are right here. All right. Modal establishment. The major third and the minor third both establish the major and minor modes, which is very important to know and recognize. And just for education's sake, I want you to know also that the Dorian mode. We'll talk a little bit about the Dorian mode. The Dorian mode, in consideration of all the scales in their parallel order, which means you're maintaining a tonal center, but you are establishing new modes with that tonal center, which stretches the harmonic fabric and the expression of what's being played. So you add B flat to a C major scale, you get your Mixolydian scale, and then you have an E flat, and then you have your Dorian scale. And I find the Dorian scale actually being a neutral mode, because the Dorian scale is usually it's a minor scale, but I see it as half of a C Mixolydian scale, but also on the bottom end of the scale it is a well, yeah. On the bottom half of the scale it is a C Dorian scale with that emphasis. So there's always things changing in that sense. But also, if you think of G, if you think of Mixolydian starting with G, but then you add B flat, you're in G Dorian there. So it's whatever you make it. So these are your consonant values: the perfect fifth, fourth, and the octave. And then the major, the minor third are the intervals that establish your mode, which are part of this section. So I would say those would be more mildly consonant in the Overtone series, but they have, the major and minor third have a great significance as you look at all the scales.